Thanks for joining us on this rainy Friday evening. I'm Rudy Williams. Well, it's day 5 of the federal civil rights trial against the 3 former Memphis police officers accused in the beating death of Tyre Nichols. On the stand today, the first defendant, Demetrius Haley. Now, his testimony took place without the jury present. Our Stephen Pimpo is live outside the federal courthouse in downtown Memphis. And Stephen, much of the day's testimony centered around those documents. Why were they so important?
Yeah, Rudy, they spent close to half the day discussing this motion. Now, all Memphis police officers are required to fill out a response to resistance form every time they use force when they make an arrest. They're supposed to detail what they did and why so that MPD can make sure they're following policy. Now, Demetrius Haley took the stand today and admitted in court that he left out information on his form about Tyre Nichols' arrest, though he says it was not intentional. Haley says his response to resistance form did leave out the fact that he was at the scene of Nichols' arrest, but that was not intentional, and the information just did not save properly when he entered it digitally. Prosecutor Forrest Christian asked Haley if he purposely left out that he kicked Nichols in the head, but defense attorney Michael Stengel objected to stop that line of questioning. The defense argues that response to resistance forms fall under Garrity protection, which states that when an MPD employee is compelled to give the city a statement or face discipline, that statement cannot be used in a criminal investigation. Stengel and Martin Zumak argued that because of filling out a response to resistance form is required of officers and not voluntary, it should be considered a, quote, compelled statement and therefore not admissible evidence. Catherine Gilbert with the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division argued that this line of thinking could be applied to all police reports and body camera footage, as ISB gets all of those reports related to the investigation of a critical incident. After deliberating for several hours, Judge Mark Norris denied that motion. Now, the defense did threaten to file for a mistrial if, in fact, the judge were to grant that motion, but since he didn't, it was a moot point. Rudy?
All right, Stephen, tell us why the judge denied that motion in the first place there.
He gave several reasons, Rudy. First, he said that the defense knew about these forms for a while and that really they should have filed these as a pretrial motion. Second, they just didn't show enough evidence that these ex-officers truly believed that they were being compelled. And finally, MPD policy states that any ISB-compelled statements cannot be collected until at least 48 hours after an incident, and they submitted their forms well before then. Now, coming up at 6, we're going to hear more about those response to resistance forms, what they said, and more importantly, what they didn't say. Live in downtown Memphis, I'm Stephen Pimpo.
All right, Stephen, thanks a lot.